Hi, Divyam. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm absolutely doing great. Thank you.
Lovely. So, Anshuman, it's nice seeing you again. Is there anything you want to talk about today?
Yeah, like for today, I do have few things in my mind. Which is a lot of things I was thinking towards like this language, and more specifically, I do have things like how non-verbal communication plays a role in terms of speaking, in terms of overall your personality. So I do have this thing in me.
Lovely. So, why don't we start? What is your question? Just a heads
Sure.
up, we only have 10 minutes left, okay?
All right. Sure. So Divyam, let me know that what do you feel that in one-to-one talk, or if we are there, we are addressing a chunk of group of people, so there, what do you feel that how non-verbal communication plays a role, and how someone can focus on that part as well? Yeah.
Right. So, I think non-verbal communication is a very important part of advanced communication. You see it in a lot of industries, you see it in politics, you even see it in some games. So, I'll give you an
Right.
example. Chess, poker, these are all games where you're allowed to talk, but people don't usually talk because it gives away information, right? So what people do is, let's say in poker, when you
Mhm.
sort of put in some amount of money, you look at your opponent, you look at your opponent to see how they would react to that, right? So if their reaction is a bit negative, then you know that they are not happy with the particular action that you've taken. If they're happy, then you know that they have better cards, so you don't really give them more money. So these physical cues of smiles, any facial expressions, any body language, feeling uncomfortable, these are very important in communication at an advanced level because it gives you the information that the person may not want to give. Sometimes when you go for a job interview, right, and you're expecting, let's say, the salary of 20,000 a month, and then they say, hey, we're ready to offer you 7,000 or 10,000 rupees a month, right? See
Mhm.
exactly your reaction. That first reaction
Correct.
was, what is going on? Why are we
Yep.
doing this? Because our decided range was at a certain level. So why would they give me such a low offer? So that reaction, even though you may not want to say it, you will not say, oh my God, that's disgusting. Oh no, I don't want to waste my time with this. It's not very professional to say these things. But sometimes you can't control your body language. You can't control your expressions. So your first expression, the recruiter is trained to look out for these signs. So if someone said, I'm giving you 7,000, I'm going to think for a second. I might readjust myself in the chair, or I might just, scratch my head or like do something that makes me uncomfortable because now I have to have the uncomfortable conversation that this is too low, right? So it's my responsibility to counter with a better offer that might work for me, right? So these are signs that experts are trained in noticing. We don't even know when we are doing it because it's so natural. It's like we are on autopilot when that happens, right? So it's very important to experience conversations. Some of them need to be uncomfortable so you can see these signs in other people, right? When people go through a breakup, when friends are fighting about money or plans, all of these cues are available. Okay, so when something is being said that is uncomfortable, keep an eye out, start looking for signs that someone is uncomfortable, someone is feeling guilty, someone is getting angry at whatever the conversation is, right? Because confrontation, fights, arguments, these are times where people are so focused on the conversation or the words that are being used that they can't really control their body language. I'm talking about most people. There are experts who can
Yep.
control it and they can use it to manipulate the conversation. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in general, the trend is that people cannot control that. So there are a lot of guides on YouTube on how to sort of look for those signs, how to interpret certain actions and link them to certain emotions, right? I'll
Mhm.
give you an example. If you're feeling guilt, right, the first thing you'll do is you'll put your head down because you want to avoid eye contact. You feel shame that, okay, I should not have done that. I feel bad that this happened, right? So
Right.
those are signs that you have to sort of research. You have to put the rules in your mind. but then also experience it to validate that, yes, this is true. This is what happens. Okay. So although it may not be as direct as verbal communication, physical, body language, facial cues, these are all signs of non-verbal communication that can give you a lot more information. And if you can understand and you can interpret them, then it will give you a very sort of important advantage in a conversation, negotiation, argument, all of
Mm.
that.
Yeah, like sort of we can use it in a tool to convey our message, and as you earlier mentioned, expert use it as an in order to much more depict the thing what they wanted to say. Correct. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
However, you also mentioned one thing in between. Like, sorry to ask this question off track. You asked about salary negotiation, right? So let me know that how someone can ask or like how someone can negotiate if somebody in HR or final round interviews that is being said that they do ask for the salary. Say, what is your Anshuman? What is your expectation? So, what is the best way to counter this question?
Um, well, my opinion is that when a recruiter asks you what is your expectation, it's a trick question. Okay. So this is something that is called negotiating against yourself. Okay.
Correct.
Let's say I'm the recruiter and I'm trying to hire you as a software engineer. Okay. My budget for an experienced software engineer, and by experience, I mean like 2 or 3 years of experience, right? It
Mm-hmm.
could be 50,000 rupees a month. Or let's say
Mm-hmm.
my budget is 70, 80,000 rupees a month. Okay. And I can see your CV, I can see your last CTC, what you did as a last company. And your salary in your previous role was 35,000. Okay. It
Mm-hmm.
is, it is a disadvantage for me to come and tell you my range. Okay.
Correct.
Because then I might have to pay you more. So what I'll do to get an advantage for myself is ask you, what are you expecting? And most people do this, they feel guilty asking for a good amount. They feel like I made 35 in my last. Maybe if I get 45 over here, I'll be happy, right? So they sell themselves short. So
Mm.
I take advantage of the fact that, people are shy or they feel uncomfortable asking for the amount that they may deserve or what the market rate is. So I'll ask you, what are your expectations? And you'll say 55. Let's say you say 60. Okay. And I'm very
Mm.
happy because my range was 80. So I was happy to pay till 80. But you said 60. So
Right.
now I'll say, oh, 60 is not possible. Can we do 53? Can we do 55? So I'm trying to save money. So if you decide that yes, 55 is good enough, right? So I have saved around 20, 30,000 rupees per month as a company.
Got it.
So when it comes to that question, what are your salary expectations? The best response is to not give an actual number, right? It's to say that, hey, I've done my research. The market range is between 50 to 80,000. And I think with my experience, I place somewhere around 65 to 70,000. Okay. So what happens
Mm.
is you don't even have to say that 65, 70. You can just say the range is from 60 to 80. And I feel with my experience, I'm going to be somewhere in the middle of that range. I'm not expecting the top end, but somewhere in the middle. So what happens is they know when you give that response, they know they cannot take advantage of you because you've done your research. You've done your research, you know what people are ready to pay for that quality or for that experience, right? Or that skill.
Mm.
And they understand that, okay, I may not save money with this guy, but I'm sure there are 10 other people next in line who may, uh, fall for that trick where they say what the amount is, right? So make sure you answer it professionally, correctly, but don't give an actual number because what you're doing is
Mm.
you are arguing with yourself.
Right. Ah, got it. However, in terms of experience, I feel this is good method to handle this question. However, what do you feel if somebody is fresher, even though you do not have any actual experience working in industry? So this answer would be the same or a bit different, like how they should answer it.
Well, usually for freshers, there is no market range. You can't really do research. Yes, it will, like if you do the research, it'll give you an industry specific thing. Like let's say you've just finished your studies to become a CA. There will be a
Mm.
starting salary, right? In the market when you research it. So yes, you have to go with that. But you lose a lot of negotiating power if you're a fresher. That is one of the disadvantages of being a fresher, obviously, because the company is in control of what happens. You cannot say no. The whole logic is, if you are somewhere in the middle of your career, at the top of your career, if a company offers you, let's say, 1 lakh rupees, but your worth is 1.5 or 2 lakhs, you can say, hey, this is too low. I don't think there is any point negotiating. I'm going to look for opportunities somewhere else. Right. So what happens is the company feels, oh my God, he just rejected my offer. Let me give him a better offer. Let's see if he's ready to accept it. Because you are at the top of your management, at the top of your skill ladder, you can say no to a company because you know there are other people who need that skill as well. So you have options, right? And in market, as long as you have options, your rate will be decided by you. If you don't have options, then the rate will be decided by the other person, because they'll say, yeah, you're top management, but you had this legal case against you. We'll give you 50,000. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't want it, that's fine. I mean, they'll not be so rude about it. I'm just saying what it actually means.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, if you don't have other offers, you cannot negotiate against that salary. You'll say, can we do 60, 70? And they'll be like, yes or no. They'll decide what to do, right? So in the market, it'll always be determined by your experience, skill level. This is why we are trying to improve English for everybody in India, because even though you may have the experience and skill, you may not be able to communicate clearly how you can benefit the company, what you have to offer, what ideas you may have to increase revenue or anything. So this happened to me recently. I was offered a certain amount and I wanted a little bit more than that. Okay. So let's use an example. Let's say I was offered, this is not the actual amount, but they were offering me 10,000, but I wanted 15 or 17, right? So instead of
Mm.
saying no, I want 17, I'll say, hey, my target to get to this salary, let's say to get to 20,000 is, sorry, it is my target to get to 20,000. Okay. Can you tell me what I can offer to the company that the company will be ready to offer me 20,000? That is a very good negotiating tactic. Ask them, what else do I need to give you for you to give me 20,000 a month? Okay.
Oh, tricky one.
So what happens is the conversation is not about yes or no. The recruiter does not have
Mm.
to say yes or no. They have to think. They'll be like, you have experience with this and this and this. But if you had this skill, let's say you were doing marketing and you can handle my websites, then yes, I can add that extra 10,000 or 5,000 per month and I can give you that. So you can say, okay, I'm ready to offer that. Or let's say I'm ready to study it. So in the first 6 months, we'll do 10,000. But as soon as I learn that skill and I take over that and I give you the results, I want 25,000.
Mm. Correct.
So when you use this line of negotiating, that what can I do to get to this level? The the recruiter also starts thinking, because it's not a yes or no. If I use the traditional way, no, I don't want 10, I want 17,000. Their response is only yes or no. They cannot say anything else. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say, I want to get there, what can I do that you will be able to pay me this? Right.
Yeah.
Then the conversation goes up that, okay, we do have this requirement in that department. If you can solve that, maybe we can get you a better pay. So keep the conversation flowing. Let them know that you are not just asking for money, because they feel like, oh my God, he's asking for more money like every other person. No, ask for more money, but first you tell them, I want to give you something so I can achieve that. What is that something? Please tell me. So they also start thinking positively. Are he's being creative, he's saying it nicely, he's communicating it professionally that he wants to get to a certain target, right? So this is another good way to sort of get that advantage in your
Mm-hmm.
salary negotiation. All right.
Oh, really? That
Uh,
is really a good way.
yeah, Anshuman, I'm so sorry to cut you off abruptly like this, but I have another session in 2 minutes. So let's wrap it up.
Yeah, sure. But thank you for your time. Like you really put a few nice method to deal with the salary, and you also um, signifies the impact of non-verbal communication. I feel this could help the viewers as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So what we can do is we can talk in detail in the next session about this. Okay. Maybe you can
Sure,
find some
sure, sure.
questions that people have, and I would love to answer them.
All right, sure. I'd love to connect you again.
All right. Lovely. Thank you so much. It was lovely seeing you as always, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye bye.